Good afternoon, and it's your guy Rollo with another return episode of Hotep Holla, man. We are here. We're talking about therapy, man. We're talking about therapy in these trying times, you know, when we're all trying to maintain. It's very important that we take care of the mental. You got to take care of the mental, and we have a special guest here with us tonight, the lovely Myea Meighan, therapist and owner of a safe space, NP in psychiatry, PLLC, committed to destigmatizing mental health in the Black and Brown communities. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
You look nice.
Thank you.
You're glowing. This is intimate. Is this all right?
It's very intimate.
Okay. We're going to get right into it. First segment, therapy for what? And by that, I'm saying that, you know, within historical context, why do you think Black communities have traditionally avoided therapy?
I feel like there was a lack of the knowledge base, right? So we didn't really have the resources to explore therapy. And for those Black folks who did have the resources, aka finances, good health insurance, etc., the knowledge base was lacking.
Because you can't do it if you got the basic package, the basic healthcare package, because you don't want them taking too much out of your check. You can't.
Which is also unfortunate because it should come in a standard health insurance package. Unfortunately, it doesn't.
It's a little bit of extra.
Right.
Do you see a lot of Black and Brown people in your practice?
I do.
Do you?
I do, fortunately.
Fortunately. Okay. Are they happy to see you too?
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to see you. All right, man. Moving on, culturally and generational mistrust of medical and mental health institutions. Can you speak on that? I know we don't want to go as far as the Tuskegee experiments, but along those lines, do you feel there's been a distrust?
Absolutely.
What do you think? Okay.
Because I'll start off with representation matters. And unfortunately, there isn't a lot of representation in general historically, but especially within the mental health space. So to not be comfortable speaking about past traumas and then have to do so with someone who can't necessarily relate to you culturally, that's a hindrance. So it keeps people away. I've heard people say, well, why am I telling a white person my problems? They can't relate. They don't know what I'm talking about. I feel like I have to perform for them so that I'm not judged. And historically, that has happened. I've had clients come to me and say they've been hospitalized because they thought that they were in a manic situation because they were speaking passionately. So representation, race-wise and culturally, it matters.
That's powerful. We have a question for discussion. When did you first hear someone say Black people don't do therapy?
In my family.
In your family? Really?
Yeah. So when I was younger, I actually told my mother that we should go to therapy because I don't know if you have a Caribbean audience.
How young is young?
I was in high school.
Wow.
Yeah. I was about 16.
You felt as though you and your mama needed therapy.
Yes.
Y'all was beefing like that?
We was beefing. We was beefing. And it's that age, you know, like you're a teenager. Caribbean people, we say like, are you smelling yourself? So you feel like you know everything. You know the best direction you should take for yourself. And also you're trying to find your autonomy. So culturally, the mother is what I say goes, don't question me, etc., etc. So I told my mom, I said, we keep going back and forth. You're not hearing me. I'm not hearing you. We should go to therapy. And she was like, therapy for what? We're not crazy. So she shut it down immediately. And that was my first time hearing that.
Gotta love Caribbean moms.
Listen, I love my Caribbean mom. You know.
My mama African. I love her too.
Good.
We love the moms.
Yes.
But tell us more about your particular practice as well as what you were doing before that. We now know that you do own a safe space, NP. What's the NP stand for?
Nurse practitioner.
There it is. Okay, so a safe space nurse practitioner in psychiatry. Okay, now what's the PLLC stand for?
So it's a professional limited liability corp.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's
You
the
just put the
license.
it's an
Yeah.
LLC, but you put the P in there.
Yes.
That's important.
It's an extra layer of
Okay.
protection. Yeah.
And when did you launch your own practice? And what were you doing before? Were you kind of working with an organization before, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So I've worked with multiple private practices, in person and also virtually. And working for other practices, it helped me determine what I would want my practice to look like and what I would not want my practice to look like or embody.
Okay.
So when you're working in someone else's space, you have to abide by their policies and their procedures. And ultimately, the bottom line is what matters. It's a business at the end of the day. So I found myself in situations where I was placed in positions where I felt uncomfortable and I felt like I was being highly or strongly encouraged to care for people that weren't necessarily appropriate for a virtual space.
Explain. What does that mean exactly?
If we are presented with a client who is currently in psychosis, so that means that they are having auditory and visual hallucinations. They are hearing and seeing things that may not be there. They could be hearing voices telling them to kill themselves, etc. That typically requires a higher level of care, which means they need to be either hospitalized or they need at least to see someone in person that can offer them different or multiple services. We can't necessarily do that in a virtual space, but if their insurance is covering the visit and the practice is going to get money from it.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream getting money. That's what they say.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's what they say.
But not at the sacrifice of providing safe care.
That is, look at you. You a Christian?
Yes.
You a Christian?
Yes.
I can tell. I can tell. So that was one of the troubling things you found working with a particular.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, and also safety, right? So I worked in person and.
You worked in person?
Yeah.
You had people like sitting across from you.
Yeah, and in an enclosed space similar to this. And if they are, let's say, maybe hypomanic or maybe they're just frustrated, it can be a safety issue for myself. And there have been instances in the news where psychiatric nurse practitioners have been attacked and or killed in circumstances where they were faced with a client who shouldn't have been there in the first place because they did need a higher level of care. Correct. Yeah.
Did you keep the stick on you?
No, I ain't keep no stick.
You ain't keep nothing on you?
No, but I would assess.
I had something on me.
I can assess and see like what's sharp in here that I could pick up real quick if I need to.
What?
Yeah, you gotta be quick.
Keep that hammer. It might be hammer time. Listen, it's crazy times right now.
It is.
That's wild. So now you're doing your own thing. And how do you go about acquiring clientele? Because you're just starting a business. I'm sure you can't poach people from whatever organization and bring them over. So how do you go about building your practice?
Word of mouth, social media, and I have my own website.
Tell us about your website.
So my website is safespacepllc.com.
Okay.
And it just gives a bio about me. You can book services directly on the site.
Wow. Okay. I'm sorry to cut you off. Let's say I have no insurance and I just want to see your face. How much would I pay us for an hour session? How much would that cost me out of pocket?
All right. So the initial session is a 60-minute long session, and we're going through all of your history and determining if we're a good fit for one another. And that would cost $300.
I might as well take you to dinner. I might as well take your ass to dinner for $300. Forget about me. Let's talk about you for $300. Damn. Okay, fair enough.
It's an investment.
It is an investment.
Yes.
Man, that's powerful. I need to switch my profession. So now that this is your own org, do you get that all that $300?
Yes and no. I mean, there's overhead, so I have to take care of the cost for the practice and goes into that as well.
Okay, that's not bad though. I don't want to go back to school. Okay, moving along. I feel like there has been a rise of the healed Black person, and I'm not saying that. I'm talking from personal experience. A lot of my closest friends are in. I don't want to say healed, but let's say they're living a more holistic lifestyle, and then it's kind of all inclusive. It involves like their spirituality, it involves their diet, hobbies, like the whole nine, especially in my friend group. You know, I have multiple friends that are kind of diving more into that. Um, let's speak on how therapy is becoming less taboo, especially amongst millennials and Gen Z.
There, I agree. It is becoming less taboo. What I'm facing in my practice is that a lot of people that come see me, they're the first, right? I'm the first person in my family to explore therapy. I'm the first person in my family to explore medication management for the diagnoses that I have, such as anxiety, ADHD, depression, etc. So they are the change, and they're the ones bringing this information back to their elders, like, hey, this is something that is beneficial for us. The reason why I'm able to have a different form of conflict resolution with you and we're in a better space is because I looked outside the box and I explored the resources available to me. So I definitely agree with that.
That's powerful. So you're saying a lot of younger faces.
Yeah.
Mainly young faces, yeah.
I would say anywhere between 18 to, I have clients in their 60s, but most between 18 and 35.
So 18 and 6. You got 60-year-old clients? What are their problems?
Everyone has problems. Everyone has circumstances that they're trying to navigate. Like if you're transitioning to retirement, like what is my purpose now? A lot of people tie their self-worth to what they do. And now I'm retiring. Like I'm going to have all this free time. What do I do with myself? My kids are gone.
Well, they got some money. They got to travel, I was assuming. What else you going to do? Let's speak to Instagram therapists and mental health memes and the commodification of healing. Is that a thing? I see these influencers every once in a while giving people advice. Some of it's good, I guess, and I do see a lot of the memes. I post some of them.
Yeah, the memes are funny. Some of the memes are funny, but take it for entertainment versus medical professional advice.
Okay.
And I feel like there should be some sort of disclaimer, like, hey, I am not credentialed, I did not study this, but based off of my experience, and then say what you need to say versus
say what you need to say. I'm sorry, I just like that. Remember that song? Say what you need to say. I think, remember that song?
You kind of hit the note.
I'm pretty talented.
Okay.
But not to cut you off. I was just being silly.
No, I mean,
you think it cheapens the profession? Like internet comedians and real comedians.
I have nothing against comedians. Speaking on mental health, or anyone really, but I do feel like there should be some sort of disclaimer because a lot of people are stating opinion as fact, and that can be dangerous.
I don't know. I usually, use my. I feel as though I could use common sense to, decide whether or not something along the lines in terms of, therapy related advice has merit or not.
Yeah, but there's a scale, and some people are very impressionable, especially our younger people. So
you think so?
Yeah, I think some of the younger people can be impressionable, especially if you were raised on social media. You know, they didn't have the privilege of living a life that wasn't constantly recorded or them constantly facing a screen. It was just going outside and playing and living life. But when there's so much access to what you're doing, how you're doing, what you're wearing, how you look, et cetera, you can be impressionable and more sensitive to what people say about how you should live your life and things of that nature.
This is true. How do you feel about the celebrities that have been opening up recently, like your Tarajis, your Charlemagnes, your Kendricks, and Kanye? Have you turned your back on Kanye?
I haven't turned my back on Kanye.
I haven't either. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I haven't turned my back on Kanye.
What he said about his cousin, listen, I don't know what that's about, but I haven't turned my back on Ye, man. I'm sorry. I won't do it.
I empathize with Kanye because, I mean, he has bipolar. It's clearly not being...
Oh, he has okay.
Yeah, he's been diagnosed bipolar. I don't know if it's bipolar 1 or bipolar 2.
Which one is the scary one?
I don't think either are scary.
Which is the one you be running outside naked and doing cocaine? Which one is that?
There's...
You know the one. The one when the manic is real maniac. When the manic like maniac.
So bipolar 1 means that there has been some sort of psychosis. So most likely, if you are having some form of psychosis, running around naked in the street,
Do
that
cocaine
is
and eat butt for
bipolar
the
1.
weekend.
Okay.
I got Joey. I finally got Joey. And I was eating this girl butt all weekend, man. Damn. I'm manic.
You don't need to be bipolar to do that, but
Dang, look at you. You nasty. You a nasty therapist.
I'm just saying.
Okay. I know what you into. Okay. So that's bipolar 1.
That would be bipolar 1.
So that's what Kanye got.
I
You don't
cannot
know.
say that.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Look at you. You so professional. Okay, we're gonna move on. This easy talking to you. I might want to book a session. I gotta check my insurance though.
There you go.
Cause that 300, that hit different when it's
I
gone
take-
in an hour.
I take most major insurance plans. So
Okay, fair enough. Who I got? I think I got Cigna.
I take Cigna.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look at you. Look at you about that money.
Stop.
I'm gonna book me a session. Anybody ever asked you for the number
Yes.
in a session? You gave it to them.
No.
You kept the number.
No.
I'd ask for the number. I'm like, if you want me to book another session, that's the least you could do for 300.
Wow. I'm not going there.
That's the least you could do. Okay, moving along. We got a lot of segments. I can't believe I made this outline. Okay, the system isn't built for us. That's segment 3. Okay? Racism in the healthcare and mental health systems. Do you see it? Do they see the black lady and be like, that bitch she bipolar, and she just had a hard day?
Yeah, she really just had a hard day. And then she's hospitalized, and it's a mandatory 72-hour hold. And that in itself can be highly disturbing for someone.
72 hours, that's 3 days. They can hold you for 3 days?
They can hold you for 3 days.
What if she got kids?
Then someone has to watch the kids.
Who gonna take the meat out the freezer?
I'm not sure.
Man.
But it's tragic because that's another thing. There's a hindrance because people don't have people to watch their children. They can't afford a babysitter. Maybe they're a single parent, whatever the circumstances may be. So now they're coming to you for help, but because there is a lack of cultural awareness, you're making their situation detrimental by putting them in a hospital for 72 hours, unrightfully so, because you determined that they were a danger to themselves or others.
I be seeing all the time when the police, they be stopping crazy black people. They be using that as an excuse to just haul off on them. I hate to see it. I really do. Do you feel as though there's a lack of black therapists? And how does that affect trust and understanding? Like, do you have a lot of colleagues that are black?
I have some.
Okay.
I have some. I do feel like there is a lack of representation, and it's twofold. So this is not an easy thing to do, right? So we're taking in a lot of trauma. We're taking in and helping people navigate stressors in their life, etc. So some people, they come into the field and they don't stay in the field very long because of burnout, and because maybe they don't even have the resources for themselves to maintain the capacity to care for others in that way. And also, when you take insurance, you do not get great reimbursement, right? So
What do you mean?
So
when they got that good insurance, that affects your money?
A lot of therapists do not take insurance because the reimbursement that they receive from insurance would require them to see a large
amount of people.
Yeah.
Oh, so you rather somebody just come in just rich but naked with just the money, hit the cash.
And that's the thing. So a lot of people can't afford out-of-pocket sessions.
I mean, $300.
It's a lot.
Hour.
It's a lot.
You could go to Colombia and buy some ass for less than that.
And how is that helping you navigate the stress?
I don't know if it's helping, but I'm just weighing like what you could do with $300.
And now you got to go to the doctor when you come back.
I would hope it was wrapping it up and protecting you. I would hope. That's dangerous.
Protect you from everything.
That's scary.
Yeah, gotta be careful.
That's why I'm being in these streets like that. I don't want to be sick.
I wouldn't want you to be sick either.
Because they get on you. This girl almost gave my homeboy trichonoma. I don't even know what that is. He said he almost had ants in his pants. That's what we. I said trichomonas. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
That's just crazy. It's dangerous out here. We kind of spoke on this. The financial barrier. Therapy isn't cheap, and insurance often doesn't help.
Right. So insurance, you may have a copay, right? And say your copay is $20.
That ain't bad for a session now.
It's not bad for a session.
Break it down. That deductible. Break it down.
But the practice is, or insurance is getting about $300 for that service. Right? So you have to be mindful, even though you're paying $20, the picture is a lot larger than the $20 that you're paying. So when people go from having insurance to not having insurance and they're like, wait, why is this $300? Because that is the standard rate, even though that's not what you were paying out of pocket.
That's powerful. That's powerful. I think we're gonna move along. We almost about to wrap up.
Okay.
This has been so fun. Thank you for sitting down with me and just uplifting our community because we need healing. The jobs ain't. They still attacking DEI.
They are.
They attacking DEI. So if you was upper middle management, they cutting you at the knees. They chop blocking.
I don't even think it's upper or middle management. I think it's across the board. I have so many clients who are faced with layoffs. They have been laid off. They are looking for new employment and have been looking for quite some time now. And it's just, the economy is not great. The job market is not great right now.
It's not. Okay. So what now? We gonna roll through, man. We gonna roll through. How to actually start therapy and not ghost your therapist, after 2 sessions. Has that happened to you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's happened to me.
Really, 1 session, 2 sessions, and they're gone.
Not everyone is going to be a fit, and that's okay, right? So I feel like for a potential client, if you are ready to explore therapy, have an idea of what you want to get out of it. So I do feel like therapy has been somewhat of a fad, and it feels good to say I'm in therapy, but I've had people come to me and I'm like, okay, so what would you like to work on, or what brought you here? And it's like, I just, thought I'd try it out. But they don't really have a concrete goal, so.
I have a notion, I feel like a lot of Black people, what drives them to therapy is like an inciting incident. Like I have a couple of my friends went after they lost a parent.
Right.
Or one of my homegirls, she fell out with her mom. Like her mom said some wild shit to her. And, she had to cut her mom off, and that drove her to therapy. I feel like I don't know if that's just a Black people. I don't know if that's on people as a whole, that it takes like a traumatic inciting incident to kind of.
I would agree with mostly Black and brown people. That's what drives them to therapy. The white clients that I do have, they've been in and out of therapy for most of their lives.
So they've been crazy.
No, but their parents most likely had therapy themselves, and they were able to identify certain symptoms.
So mama and daddy was crazy too.
Oh my gosh.
It's hereditary. It was hereditary amongst the Saxons. Hotep Holla. Hey, we here every week, baby, but go on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
So they will identify symptoms that look like anxiety to them, and they would intervene and use the resources available to them to get their children into therapy. Whereas, yes, Black and brown people, usually there is a specific incident that occurred in their lives that brought them to that space.
That was true. Let me see. What healing might look like for Black folks on their own terms?
What?
No, man, I'm engaging you.
On their own terms. That could look like, oftentimes it looks like community. Oftentimes it looks like some form of spirituality, laughter, humor, music.
Playing my part.
Yes, you're playing your part. So it's so subjective, but incorporating those modalities into therapy, into that space, is very helpful, because Sometimes you don't have the words to describe how you're feeling, but you may have a song.
This is
know?
true.
So you may want to lean on God in that moment because there are no answers, and having a sense of a higher power can help push you through, in addition to other coping strategies that you can learn in a therapeutic space.
You kind of answered my next question, which I believe you would agree that therapy can coexist with spirituality, community, and culture.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. So most of my Black and brown clients, they do believe in a higher power, whether they are spiritual, Christian, Catholic, whatever the case may be. And it can be incorporated because there has to be a respect for what your client is coming in to.
Okay.
So to bring it back to knowing what your goal is or what you would want your therapist to embody, that is also a helpful tool that alleviates some of the therapist hopping. Um, some therapists, they do not believe in any form of religion. And if you are not religious, okay, that is something that can be used as a filter for you. Some therapists, they do incorporate music therapy into their sessions. That can be used as a filter to you. Yeah. So just being mindful of what you would lean into, and when you're exploring profiles, when you're exploring websites, look for those key terms.
Wow. I want to become a therapist and play Chief Keef in one of my sessions.
You gonna play so-so?
Almighty so too. Almighty so too. Let them know they can get that guy get up and get it out here. You can get up and get it.
Listen, a lot of affirmations.
Listen, closing thoughts. We here. Healing isn't linear.
No.
Or always pretty.
No, it's not. Healing can hurt. And I think that's another thing. People feel like healing is supposed to be like this eye-opening thing, and it's supposed to be beautiful, and it can be.
It hurts you real bad.
But it can hurt. Like, there are some harsh realities that you have to come to terms with, and it ebbs and flows. It's not linear, and it's not a steady progression.
Black joy and black healing can exist in the same breath as trauma.
Absolutely.
High five.
Absolutely. We're so resilient as a people because we just had to be. So we do tend to lean on joy, humor, good times. It can be a form of escapism, but if you're incorporating and like facing the trauma, facing the stressors in your life, and it's a balance there, then it can absolutely coexist.
I love that. So tell the people where to find you and where to keep this conversation going, because people are looking for Black therapists. And I know specifically, like me, if I was to do therapy, I would always want to work with a Black woman. So we have one here.
Yes.
You know, you put your cocoa butt on, you know, you're shining in here. So tell people where to find you. How can they book a session?
So you can book a session. You can find me on Headway. So my name is Myea Meighan. My practice is a safe space, MP in psychiatry, PLLC, and my website. My website is a safe space, PLLC.com.
And you can find me in St. Louis. Remember the St. Lunatics? What the fuck happened to them? Remember Nelly and them? You can find me in St. Louis. Oh, man. Where does the time go?
So I'm from Brooklyn. I was
Look at that. Look at y'all. Y'all so separatist. That's y'all problem now. That's why the South took over hip-hop, because that attitude. I'm from Brooklyn. I don't know about all that shit. Anyway, man, this has been Rollo, the host of Hotep Holla, man. We sat down with Myea Meighan today to talk therapy and healing and how you can fix your life.
Yes.
You know? And we'll be here next week. Thank you for letting us know where to find you. How do you feel about, before we go, the Remy Mom and Papoose situation? Where do your allegiances lie? Who's right, who's wrong?
And they are both in better financial circumstances than I am.
That you've been mature.
So I feel like some things don't necessarily need to be on the internet. And
they going at it, man.
They are. I think it's entertainment. It's a little sad. It's, you know, but it's getting the people going.
I hope I never go through a heartbreak like that at this big age.
Same.
That's crazy.
Same. But I don't know. I don't have too much to say on it.
I say, look at you. Stop being shit. We're going to get you some liquor. We're going to get you some liquor next time you come by. Hey, this has been Rollo. This has been Hotep Holla. We're going to see you next time.